Why did Muslims predominantly choose partnerships to start business ventures? How was the decision connected to Islam? Namaskar. My name is Ajay Sharma. Welcome to the Kafirnama. To understand why Muslims preferred partnerships over other business structures, we need to understand the basic tenets of Islamic inheritance laws. Let us start with the hypothetical case of a successful business enterprise founded in 1850 by a Muslim entrepreneur, along with other partners who may be related or unrelated, or could even be professing other religions. What would happen if this Muslim entrepreneur passes away? Maybe unexpectedly so. The Muslim partner's assets, including his share in this company, would be compulsorily and immediately partitioned off and shared with his legal inheritors. Islamic inheritance laws require that at least 2/3 of a deceased person's assets should be partitioned and handed over to his legal descendants. Now, what if the deceased person is a successful business entrepreneur, as in this case? You could well imagine that all his descendants would be lining up for their shares even before the poor chap's body has been lowered into the grave. But the fate of his partners would be much worse. They would have to either cough up the money from the business or maybe liquidate it and distribute the Muslim partner's assets among his descendants. So at the very least, if a Muslim partner died, the business would suffer immensely in the short term and at its worst, possibly shut down altogether. Let us take up a much quoted example from researchers on this subject. Around the turn of the 19th century, Sulaimanji and Muhammad Ali were two Muslim entrepreneurs who ran a successful business partnership selling umbrellas. They made an annual profit of 30,000 rupees on an initial investment of 70,000 rupees, a return on investment of 40%. That is as good as the most profitable businesses of today. Unfortunately, Muhammad Ali died in 1896. Sulaimanji knew what was coming up, so he pleaded with the heirs of Muhammad Ali to keep the enterprise going. Unfortunately, Muhammad Ali's inheritors wanted their share of the inheritance immediately. It was like killing the golden goose that laid a golden egg every day, just because some people wanted to have their share of the feathers, the bones and the flesh. Eventually, Sulaimanji was left with no other option but to dissolve the partnership, liquidate the assets, distribute them and shut the business down. But what if Muhammad Ali's heirs had agreed to become partners in the business by distributing his share? Was it possible? Legally, possibly yes, but tricky. Under Islamic law, property rights resides in individuals. So even if such a resolution had to be taken up, the partnership would first have to be dissolved, its assets had to be liquidated, distributed among the descendants, and then a fresh partnership had to be set up with the same set of descendants. An almost impossible task to achieve, even the diverse set of people involved. But what if the surviving partner were to actually go through this process? He would now have to contend with new partners who had no idea of the business, little value to add, and a lot of stupid questions to ask. So would that be a desirable scenario for him? So what was the resultant impact of Islamic inheritance laws? They effectively ended the prospect of Muslims taking up the joint family business route to pool and deploy capital. Muslims preferred partnerships for starting business ventures even with their own brothers. Shorter the duration of the partnership, less the number of partners, less severe was the blow if it came to any untimely liquidation. Islamic inheritance laws had a second and even more deadly impact on the prospects of Muslims taking up modern industry. It led to wealth fragmentation in cash and for immovable property, putting them into a seriously disadvantaged position with Indic entrepreneurs who could freely deploy the generational wealth into modern industry and then build on it to generate even more wealth. Meanwhile, how did Hindu and Jain inheritance laws compare to Islamic inheritance laws? We will discuss this subject in greater detail when we discuss about the success of Indic entrepreneurs both in India and globally, despite persecution for the last 1,000 years. But here are some key points of difference. Hindu inheritance laws recognize both individual ownership and collective ownership of assets. So if a family member passed away, his share of the joint family business was passed on to his male descendants. If he did not have a male child, he could adopt one, and his share of the joint family business would pass on to his adopted child. So as we discussed in our previous episode, all efforts by Hindu and Jain joint family businesses was to ensure that the joint family business survived across generations and generated wealth and could deploy it in different businesses and then generate even more wealth. At the same time, Hindu inheritance laws were also practical. If one part of the family wanted to separate and start their own joint family business, it could do so. Such splits may or may not have been amicable, but they were mostly settled in a way that the overall business franchise was not affected. More on the practicality of Hindu inheritance laws in subsequent episodes. Coming back to the subject of Muslim versus non-Muslim entrepreneurs, the scenario was to get much worse for Muslim entrepreneurs when the British took over the administration of many parts of India by 1850 and beyond. Why would that be? We take it up in our next episode. We also take up the question that we asked earlier in the series. Why did specific Muslim communities like the Khojas and Memons do better at transiting to modern industry versus other Muslim communities before 1947? We hope you like this episode. Please do like it and share it with your friends. Also subscribe to the Kafirnama to get regular notifications on new episodes and new series that we plan to come up from time to time. Jai Bharat.